the family of O.J. Simpson has announced his death at the age of 76. He was a former NFL star and one of the most infamous high-profile Americans of all time, a standing trial and being acquitted for the double murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. His family said he passed away in Las Vegas after a battle with cancer. Arise 360 anchor Kachofia joins me now for more on this and other showbiz headlines.
Absolutely.
I wonder what other headlines are there, but let's start with O.J. Simpson. Yes,
precisely. It's
if you're old enough, you'll remember the chase of the white Bronco.
Of course, that was a hot
what year
chase.
was that again? That was
95.
95.
Yes, that was 95. And what made that even so? What makes it so interesting is its influence in pop culture. Because like you rightly said, a lot of young people might not really understand the impact of what it means to say, oh, O.J. Simpson is dead. In fact, I've seen people on Twitter, saying things like, oh, okay, the impact isn't there. It's not there as much as it should, because a lot of people do not understand from the traditional sense. But when you take it into the world of pop culture, then it gives a little more meaning. It gives a bit more understanding. Now, that
changed live television.
It did. It 1000% did, because then you saw at a time, 1995, where people are, first of all, obsessed with this celebrity chase, obsessed with this trial, and then they have to juxtapose that with issues around race, around class, the fact that this was a black man dating a white woman, and then the white woman ends up dead, and not just her friend. Now, although he was acquitted, we do know that a jury unanimously found him liable in another civil trial. Apart from the armed robbery case, he was sentenced to 33 years and only spent about 9 years. The family of Nicole and her friend took the case to a civil trial. So there he was found liable for the two deaths and had to pay an amount of money. So this is to say that there are people who still believe that O.J. Simpson was guilty. In fact, a poll in 2016 that was taken proved basically that most people still believed that. I mean, we remember the famous moment from the trial, because I binged on this.
Didn't we all?
When he had to put on those gloves and the gloves didn't fit. Exactly. It didn't fit.
Yeah, and that was the game changer.
That was definitely the game changer for him. But you see, if you read a lot of obituary articles around O.J. Simpson, everyone tilts to the angle of the rise and fall. The rise and fall. Because you would think after the civil trial and being found liable, okay, let's do something better. And then he gets involved in that armed robbery situation in 2000 and 2007, and then he spends 9 years behind bars. He was meant to spend a longer period of time, and to think of what the issue was about, sport memorabilia that he said belonged to him. So there's so many things that start to make you ask questions and realize, like, what really went wrong here? I've read tributes so far to O.J. Simpson, and they're not the nicest either. For instance, Gloria Allred, she's a famous attorney, and she represented Nicole Simpson, the deceased Nicole Simpson, during the trial. And she says she has no reason to mourn O.J. Simpson. That, as a matter of fact, his death only reminds the world of how the system failed Nicole and her friend.
And not just Nicole and her friend. Some even say that the system continues to fail women who at the receiving end of domestic violence, and they don't get the kind of justice that you expect.
Like I said, the 1995 and 2024 were
not
two different periods, because post 2020, we had the Me Too movement. And with the Me Too movement, we saw several stars go behind bars. Remember Bill Cosby? Remember Harvey Weinstein? Remember R. Kelly? So these are all people who, what would have happened if this was happening in 1995? That was a very different time. So I believe that's what Gloria Allred spoke to when she said that this is just a reminder that we need to continue to, do better. And then, of course, there's Caitlyn Jenner, keeping up the Kardashians. Guess what he said? He said, good riddance.
Oh, yeah.
That was what he said.
So unforgiving.
So unforgiving. And you ask yourself, it's that same thing where people still carry so much anger. He married Kris Jenner, who was friends with Nicole, and whose husband was one of the 10 attorneys who defended O.J. Simpson.
Robert Kardashian.
Precisely, senior. So he's one of those people who genuinely believe that this man was guilty. So I think he lived a quiet life. You know, the prostate cancer, he was taking chemotherapy. He used to share a lot of videos to his over 900,000 followers on sports.
Well, it's good to know he died, you know, with his children and grandchildren around him.
Yeah, but it's just a sad
76,
story.
it is. It really is. And that's, I mean, that in itself is instructive, how, you know, a person can fall from the highest heights. It takes just one wrong move and things, you know, go south.
And you know, to think he has such a great legacy,
He did. He was the biggest in his time.
He was.
Let's talk about the Actors Guild latest story. What's coming
Yesterday
from there?
was such a tough
issue
day.
of
how did you sleep? Were you able to sleep at all? Because I wasn't. It was really tough.
Yeah.
So as at today, we know for a fact that Junior Pope is dead. And this they confirmed in the early hours of today. But apart from Junior Pope, you know, and the update on that story, we also know that there was a survivor who has come out with a video to give his own account of everything that happened, you know, and it still tilts to the same thing, you know, negligence. But now there's a new focus, which is the fact that there were young kids. By kids, I mean like people in their Gen Z, people in their early 20s in the boat as well. We've spent so much time mourning the loss of Junior Pope because that was a familiar face.
Yeah.
We know him. We loved watching his movies. We will not recover from this anytime soon.
There are 5 others.
But there are other people who died as well. Those are people's kids. And it's important that we start to remember that this is a reality. And one of the things that the survivors said was that when they went to the Marine Police, they told them that they've warned them to always come to them to ask them for life vests and divers so they can go with them. But because they don't want to pay, they would rather cut corners.
The response from AGN, right?
AGN, Actors Guild of Nigeria.
To ban boat rides and what have you during movie shoots. I mean,
that's, if you ask me,
little too late?
It's medicine after death.
Does it go far enough?
It's medicine after death.
Unfortunately.
One, because, first of all, this is not the first incident.
Yeah.
This has been happening. So again, it just speaks to let's not do this. We're not stupid, okay? This is not an industry that is shocked. The only people who are shocked, guess who? People like us.
Yeah.
The people in the industry are not surprised. They say, you know, Ruth Kadiri, who has by far one of the biggest followings on YouTube, because this all borders around YouTube films.
Yeah.
She says the risk we take as actors. And in my head, I'm thinking, so there are risks in this.
Yeah, there are risks, but there are some risks that are not necessary, some risks that are avoidable.
Precisely, but then there are risks. So why are we taking these risks? Meaning that if you do something once and you get away with it, you do it the second time, you get away with it, you keep doing it because you don't think anything could ever go wrong until something like this happens.
Unfortunately, it had to take this to happen hopefully, things will change.
AGN has to do more. The whole banning Adama look, maybe it's just going to pacify people temporarily, but we're hoping to see more stringent actions. It needs to be regulated.
It has to be.
The Asaba space in Nollywood needs proper regulation because there's a lot happening there that we don't know.
Catch you off here. What a day.
What a day.
Thank you very much.